Guardians, they still put Hansler on tank duty as well. The Maokai comes in afterwards, and Power of Evil grabs a Kassadin.
Yeah, we were talking about the counter pick freak. A red side for FlyQuest in this game. They wait to see the Zoe and then locks in the Kassadin. This is a champion that you really have to use as a red side pick. Have to use as a counter pick, because otherwise you're just going to get some attack damage harassment lane that is going to look for kills over and over on you. But with a Zoe Lee Sin showing, Power of Evil very confident in this Kassadin, as am I. And this is another champion that can 1v9. We saw it already in the last game. Power of Evil doing almost half of his team's damage, 47 point something percent to be... it's just ridiculous. With Kassadin, you're looking to scale up a little bit later in the game. Doesn't go offensive quite as early as LeBlanc, who can... Though this time in the FlyQuest super carry Power of Evil.
And the thing is, like, the early game wasn't initially about Power of Evil. It was about Wild Turtle and Ignar more or less winning the 2-on-2 heads up, giving them the control to go for the early Drake. It was Solo unassisted, winning the 1-on-1 top lane with the priority pick on the Aatrox. And then, yeah, PoE basically farmed equally against Golden Glue. Then we got in a mid game and PoE took over the game. If Golden Glue does not find a way to punish the Kassadin, and if Closer cannot find a way to punish Power of Evil's Kassadin, then it's going to be, I think Golden Guardian is going to be hard pressed to find a way about this. We've already seen today that PoE can take a mobile semi-assassin, or maybe just pure assassin, and just take over the game with mobility and target selection. Alrighty, so on to Summoner's Rift. Shortly, we're going to go as we wait for enough buffer to build up for competitive integrity, since, again, in real time, there was a remake on the game. But I'm definitely excited to see who can come out ahead onto this one. I think Maokai is definitely an underrated tank. Clearly, the pro teams have it a tier below the Ornn. That was what Hansler played in the first game. It's what FlyQuest banned into this one. But ultimately, Maokai should be, I think, a very strong pick. I think he has a very, very reliable engage. He's really, really tanky. You don't get the item upgrades, of course, but I think he's very strong. I think it will look good overall in this game. I want to see if there can be some mid pressure, though. I really want to see if Closer can get into that mid lane, can land a couple of ganks, because Kassadin, before level 6, does not have good mobility and is a gank magnet, and I want to see those ganks actually land.
Completely agree. Before the Kassadin gets level 6 and has access to the extra dash from Rift Walk, Lee Sin is very good at attacking this champion. Has pretty good attack damage early on, and Kassadin's got very low armor. So if Zoe can land a bubble ever or try and help set up something, then they can attack the Kassadin. But if Power of Evil plays it intelligently, and also Santorin on Pantheon covers mid, then that can get very dicey, because if you overextend, Pantheon is very good at turning those around.
Yeah, definitely going to be watching the jungle matchup a lot. We had the first game start with a well-timed invade by Golden Guardians down to that bottom side of the map. They forced Santorin off his red. They forced him to go to Krugs. End of the day, the two junglers just traded camps back and forth, and neither got any great ganks off until maybe 13 minutes or so in, when we had that first blood top side. That kind of started the ball rolling for PoE, where they killed off Hansler. But honestly, it was then about teamfight prowess, where Closer found good knockups and he found good ultis to lock people in, and Santorin found good smites. These time around, these champions are very different. They are incredibly, incredibly early game focused, incredibly pressure focused. The one caveat being that Santorin on this Pantheon should look really, really good in the mid game, looking for side lane pressure. If someone tries to match Power of Evil in a side lane, Pantheon comes flying over the top. That is a kill every time.
All right, let's get onto the Rift then. They are ready, and this is going to be an action-packed early game as well. Everybody eyeballs on the Blitzcrank. I want to see if there's a level 1 from FlyQuest, some sort of delayed invade. I do see a sweeper on Ignar. That is a key component when you do have plans to go for these early invades, because very often teams, when they see an opponent Blitzcrank, will leave a lot of defensive wards early on, and they will expect those moves.
Ignar, I think, tried to bait out some crowd control. He tried to like turn the corner and show himself. Like, hey, I mean, okay, nothing. Okay, cool, we're good. But yeah, a giant stack by Golden Guardians. All four of the five sitting in the brush as they just simply walk right back out. FBI completes his recall, comes back to the map, and looks to go towards that bottom side. No invade ends up happening, at least not early on. PoE with a quick trinket ward will spot any jungle exits. If closer goes, let's say, red buff to invade, it's gonna be spotted. Ultimately, we don't have the early invade by FlyQuest. A little bit pensive over what Golden Guardians might do, and don't choose to risk it. Closer is going to end up getting leashed up at the top side of the map. It's going to be Hanser giving him that easy one up there. Solo going to do a similar thing, leashing for Santorin. We'll say Aatrox tends to do more damage early on, so it'll be a faster first camp for Santorin than it will be for Closer's Lee Sin.
All right, top side starts for both of them then. We kind of do expect early action down bottom, so we might as well talk about that lane. Do like Blitzcranks into Tahm Kench for the obvious reason that it's pretty easy to hook in the Tahm Kench, even if they do go, whoa, early level.
I like this fight a lot, though. They have the minion lead. The extra 3 cast minions add about 10 DPS over the top. So they take that first trade with Guardian. But here comes the first gank already. Heal for movement speed. And it's going to be Hui trying to block the shot. But FBI, can he get away? Tries to run, but Rend was already up. And they pull in Hui as well. That's going to be the Rend to just 5 HP. But what a great start. FlyQuest already with first blood.
Yeah, they're not liking that aggressive push quite so much anymore because jungle difference. Pantheon, Santorin. We had a highlight on him looking for early plays. He goes straight from top side red buff all the way, beeline down to the bottom side, where we are looking for some bottom lane action, and FlyQuest do not disappoint. They've got a Kalista Blitzcrank lane and a Pantheon jungle. This spells early aggression. Santorin waits for Hui and FBI to feel more comfortable. After the tongue lash is used, he can just flash right in. They go straight for Varus. They know that there's no possible Devour or any other spells because it's a level 1 Tahm Kench. You just saw him use the tongue lash, so they get the second flash out on top of it. And this is setting up a big lead here for Wild Turtle and Ignar with the Kalista Blitzcrank. No summoner spells for anybody on the bottom half of the map, so that means junglers will be around.
Well, Lisa not going to land the Q. We, of course, have mid lane pressure for Golden Glue Zoe. This should be expected at this level of play, that Cassidy will lose the lane early on. It means that because the Zoe can roam, they get bottom river control, they get scuttle control, and it's at least a little something on the board for Golden Guardians. But this is going to be a rough one to come through. PoE is honestly farming nearly equal. You can see 20 to 24 in CS. That's completely fine for Cassidy. Obviously, First Blood bot lane looks great, and it's very early, looking like we're poised at another FlyQuest lead.
And this time around, they're the ones with the bottom lane control and with the Kalista. So you would think plan for FlyQuest should be kind of similar to last game, where start stacking these dragons, head towards one of the early dragon souls. The only caveat here is this thing that you were just going over. The mid lane matchup is so different when Kassadin really does need more time to scale. Golden Glue here on the Zoe should be able to help out with keeping a lot of vision in this area of the map. And it's really only the early kill and the possibility of Blitzcrank Kalista playmaking that kind of sets that up.
We'll see the playmaking keep happening as they are just watching each other dry the paint and clear the waves up on the top side. Again, we're expecting Solo to win this match.
Taking turns blowing on the paint, drying it.
I mean, realistically, right? It's Aatrox versus a tank. No one should be dying here. Hanser is running out of mana. He will have to burn his teleport the next level or two, probably to be able to lane well at all. You're seeing Solo start to really pressure in as Hanser's running out of mana to all in with. Solo doesn't have that constraint. He's doing, better and better as time goes on. And we're going to have Closer actually try for a play. I'm not sure this one's going to work. They're going to go for the root. They're going to get the knockback. They get one turret shot. And, of course, Solo pops the ult and flashes. And it's a nice gank. There's no follow-through.
Really like that setup from Hanser. That's some experienced Maokai play right there. Able to get ult and flash out of Solo with his jungler coming. And that set up. So Definitely value play right there. Closer didn't have to spend much time. He had done an efficient clear on top of it, and he can even get back here still ahead of Santorin, as Santorin's got his hands in the Raptor jar, able to smite those away.
With Ignar roaming up as well, Golden Glue could well be a target. No flash on Blitz, but they jump in for the slow, and it forces Golden Glue to flash. Now they find the Drowsy. They get a bit of damage in. They're going to go in on Ignar. The stun right over the top, but they've got the squad to chase it down. Ignite picks up one, and Tom Kench is still around. They might have to save him. Just barely gets around. Gets to walk away. Gets the shield. Santorin is low, but they can't get the rest of the damage across. A nice counter gank for Golden Guardians. Right back on the board.
Closer is so freaking good. This guy just puts out so much pressure. He jumps immediately right back in on this. Let's take a look. Ignar comes up. Golden Glue does have to flash the hook, but he lands the bubble in trade for it. Then, even when Power of Evil blocks the Paddle Star from Zoe, Closer hits the Q right after. He goes in, flashes for the kill. They get the counter kill you're talking about, and Golden Guardians have some gold to work with.
A little bit of mana for Power of Evil as he grabbed the first Ruby Crystal to probably build towards Rod of Ages and survive some all-ins a bit more, but neither champion has a great source of mana right now. It's the blue buff respawn that's really going to affect mid-control here. They're very mana-hungry champions for their wave clear. Golden Guardians with Closer right now going to go for top scuttle. We know that blue is alive. He's going to claim that one, get rid of the ward, and once one of these mid laners gets blue buff, that wave clear is going to be quite a bit better. And now, as they go for that one, Golden Glue gets to clear this wave, and then he has to run over. He's got to grab himself that extra mana regen. Power of Evil right now, though, getting to shove. As we mentioned, Golden Glue kind of out of mana, can't really fight for the wave. And he's going to be able to fight for some of these casters. As Closer just kind of walks it into the brush and says, don't worry, I'll sit here and wait for you. Drop one CS, it's okay. Please, I need to get back on the map. Please take this blue buff. And he does so.
That blue. I actually didn't even see at the very beginning the Doran's Blade start from him. Just
I like it.
The Doran's Blade start with Zoe. You are with her passive, yeah. And he did actually get quite a lot of value out of it.
All right, repeat gank top side. They're going to find the root when they find the kick. Couple of Qs land, but they can't get him away from his turret just yet, except maybe when the Q can land again. But he's back in the minion line. Closer could never find the kick back to push him away from safety. So Solo able to walk away and just make it back in time. Only has to burn the ulti, and that's a pull right into the front line. Who he'll save, but here comes Pantheon. They're going to try to run. He flashes for the stun. He's got so much damage here, and Santorin is once again on the board. Power of Evil here as well for the dive. 4v1. I'm not sure who he can live. He's going to be slowed down. They're going to try for the chase. Ignar takes a couple of turret shots. Do they have the res P? We cannot possibly get a second slow, and who he walks away.
Again, this is a problem that we haven't had him camera over in a while is still there. Just if you ignore the problem, it's not going to go away. Wild Turtle and Ignar still massive lead down there. They are going to play off the bottom side. Loaded bottom side FlyQuest champions down there. Pantheon ult used. They know that they will be able to get the trade objective. They pick up the Rift Herald, which they can cash in for some turret plays of their own in a little bit.
Okay, so 1,300 gold lead to FlyQuest, plus the Mountain Drake. I feel like I've seen part of this before, where FlyQuest are winning the bot lane off of the skill of Wild Turtle and Ignar, and it turns into Drake control, and that turns into more Drake control, and that turns into insurmountable late game. The difference here is that FlyQuest were overall winning in gold because of the other plays they've been making, to be fair, most around bot lane, but getting those kills picked up. The top Herald can go to Golden Guardians, and just maybe that gets a little bit better up on the top side as they can cash in for some plates off that Herald. We'll see. Last game, it didn't go well for Closer. On Lee Sin, though, you don't want to hold on to the Herald for too long because it locks out your trinket slot and you can't ward hop. So probably seeing an earlier Herald summon than last game. Okay, so we're 10.5 minutes into this game, and you've got a 1,200 gold lead to FlyQuest, and it's going to feel pretty comfortable for them. Wild Turtle very close to the Blade of the Ruin King power spike, needs to Couple of mini-waves worth of farm, and he can make that one happen. Berserker's Greed is going to be a huge power spike there as well. And poor FBI, down a kill, down an assist, down a couple of turret plates, down 20 CS. He's going to be nowhere near the items the opponent has. He's going to play that so defensively. Nice flash, nice Q, nice knockup. And Golden Glue has his own flash. Jumps back in. Santorin going to catch him out. And there's just simply no way out of this one. FlyQuest in absolute control. Finally, we get an aggressive Rift Herald for the first time in the series for Golden Guardians. It will only mean a few hundred gold. FBI hits the turret once to guarantee he gets those 2 plates, but that is all they achieve. A simple 320 gold for all their efforts as FlyQuest are completely taking over this game. Nothing to stop them. They're winning in every single lane in realistic terms. They're winning across the map in every possible way that you could conceive of. This is going to be a really tough comeback here for Golden Guardians. Their carries don't have items. The lanes they were supposed to win aren't winning anymore. And FlyQuest are looking great in this mid game. Mid lane turret even loses an extra plate. Well, it's going to be like last week. Got a bit of a solo cast. We are getting a co-caster ready. Don't you worry. We're going to get that set up before too long. And when it comes through, we'll hear beautiful other voices, and it won't just me with the soliloquy up here as we watch the mid lane. And again, Ignar is already across the map. He's already got Mobies. He's ready to keep moving. If Golden Glue plays up, and you can see like PoE, right? He's clearing the way right in front. He's trying to get Golden Glue to fight him, trying to get him to walk up. It's not going to happen. Ignar cannot find that opening, cannot find the gank, but he's still waiting around. He's got a control ward just below him. He knows if Closer shows up. And Closer right now on the chickens. I don't believe that control can ever see the edge of that camp. So for now, it's going to be a bit of darkness there for the jungler, but Ignar knows he is safe. Now he sees who he is coming down. They see each other. And now he goes for the play yet again. Golden Glue does have flash, burns it early, finds the sleep, looks for the play. Can they kill Ignar? No, of course they can't. Wild Turtle is already here. Who he ults in, and it means absolutely nothing. 2,000 gold lead to FlyQuest, and they have continued to absolutely impress in this series. Right now, you've got Rod of Ages done for Power of Evil, right? Delays the tier. He chooses a more defensive build option. Finish the Roa, get the health, make sure I'm stacked up, and make sure I've got a Pantheon for the stun. Right away into Golden Glue. Jumps right back in, gets killed. Now the health bar is low. They find the Q, they get the shield. PoE forced to jump away, had to burn the flash because the cooldown was there, but Solo has rejoined the fight. Look for Hui, rooted in place, still on the chase. He's fast, he flashes. Hui flashed the way as well. Gets the read that Solo was going to chase that way. Smart play out of the Frenchman, and he is going to survive out of that one. Just barely they get away with the 1-for-1, trading jungler for mid, but FlyQuest still feel comfortable. Into the mid lane yet again, they only push the wave. Golden Guardians can defend it. Solo might feel heroic though. Closer walks away from the camp. Solo's inside of this one, and it leashes though. It's back to full HP. He can't take that camp down. Pops the blast plant, sees, okay, Lee Sin's gone away. I'll push in top, no problem at all. Alrighty, so once again, checking out the game state as FBI is able to clear away the bottom wave, but realistically, it is so hard to do anything in a bottom lane when you've got an aggressive member. Anytime you're down this far, normally super aggressive dives where you just run at them full tilt doesn't stop it. You get stopped by the fact that a turret exists or a mini wave exists because the difference in power level is not so high. You could just dive whenever you want. It's when you're a full item behind, that's when you can just ignore the fact that minions and sometimes even turrets exist, and suddenly you have to give up way more than you would otherwise. This is why a lot of times when someone's at half HP, they have to just full recall. Even if the fight would be bad, they would lose it long term because of the fact that they'd run out before their opponent would. Solo pushing down Hanser. You can see Hanser Q's backwards, gets a knockup, and has to run away yet again. Realistically, yeah, not a lot he can do about this matchup. Solo is ahead by 30 CS. Black Cleaver is done. Yeah, Sunfire's coming in soon. That'll be nice. It'll be a power spike, but you never really win that one-on-one as Hanser. He's going to be in the back foot the entire way, and then he's going to have to try to find an engage later on in a team fight. It's going to be a tough one, but he's going to do his best. Here we go. Once again, the bottom side, right? They can do their best to clear the wave, but Wild Turtle gets to pretty much push with impunity. Now, the Kalista is one of the more unsafe AD carries, right? Has to attack at 550 range, doesn't have good innate escape tools. The thankful thing, though, is really only Lee Sin super threatens that. And oh, what a pull! Ignar, that was amazing! Sets up another kill. They get the Drake yet again. FlyQuest doing everything right continually. 2,300 gold lead. Second Drake picked up without issue. Ocean Rift going to be the case here. So Ocean Soul going to be in about 10 minutes for them. And Golden Guardians, I mean, their engage tools are so poor. They don't have the Jarvan from last game. They don't have Kalista Taric from last game. They've got a Maokai. That is not a great engage starter. They've got a Lee Sin, not a great engage starter. If you have map control, yeah, maybe you find the flank play, maybe you find something else there, but this is the kind of comp that, I mean, FBI can flash ult and then die to Blitzcrank, but there's not a lot of good ways in here for Golden Guardians. It's going to be very hard for them to find the fight they found last game. Alrighty, looks like we are ready to go. Azael is here to join me. Welcome to the game.
What's up, man? Good solo cast. Sure you don't want me to just chill out and keep listening? Hello, freak. Got me now?
Yes, I do. Hello.
Awesome. I don't know, man. You were doing great with the solo cast. You sure you don't want me to just keep listening? You can just keep on trucking?
No. I appreciate you being here. You're my one and best friend.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Earlier you said I was a 7.5 out of 10 as far as friends go, so I feel like I've been upgraded now to best friend status. That's got to be over 7.5.
Yeah. You know, it is. Actually, the scale is out of 7.5 now. I just lowered my standards.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right, well, we are into the game. FlyQuest obviously looking really good thus far. I'm pretty concerned for Golden Guardians. They do have a very strong team comp. They do have a lot of comfort picks here, but the fact that Cassidy hasn't been able to be kept down whatsoever. I mean, Cassidy is approaching 10 CS per minute. Is out into the side lane, level 12. Looking really, really frightening. And obviously, Kalista Blitz have been getting a lot of work done alongside Santorin. So, feels like you can pretty kind of safely give up some of this stuff around Rift Herald.
Ooh, a fight in the top side, Solo 1v2, but just lands the knockups and skirts backwards. A snipe, not going to be enough to kill him. Solo actually can 1v2 the top side, not win to be fair, but survive the chain of ultimates. Mid is under fire, while Turtle nearly knocks down that turret himself.
Yeah, mid almost gets knocked down. Kassadin is pushing bot in the meanwhile. Has been getting all this solo experience, working away on that tower. And when you have Kassadin out in that side lane, getting to such a strong position, and you have the ability to reinforce that Kassadin with the Pantheon ultimate, you are looking really, really good to be dominating those side lanes. And even when it comes to team fight, it's pretty much up to the Maokai to try to lock down that Kassadin, because when Kassadin hits level 16, you get that ultimate on such a low cooldown, your team fighting becomes incredibly powerful, and the other team becomes incredibly reliant on having CC to actually deal with that. So it'll be interesting to see if Power of Evil goes Merc Treads to kind of help alongside of that. I'm not sure if he's actually gone Legend Tenacity here, as he obviously is playing with Fleet Footwork, so he could be playing with that rune too, to try to help out with a little bit of CC. But most of it is stuff that he can actually dodge. He can dodge the sleeps, he can dodge arrows and the ultimate for Varus and things like that. So Maokai is really going to have to try to peel this cast in if it does come to 5v5.
You look at the rune page right now, it is Legend Tenacity coming in for the Kassadin, so yeah, makes total sense. Of course, I wouldn't. The only thing you could realistically take is maybe the attack speed, and honestly, I wouldn't really go for it in any reasonable case here. So yeah, already comes the Tenacity. Seraph's just stacking now. I actually do. I mentioned this a little bit. I really like Power People's build choice, where he rushes the Rod of Ages and says, "Look, I'll stack Seraph's later. Don't worry about it. I'll get that infinite mana later on, and for now, I just wanted the health to make sure I survive any one-on-one encounters, and that was actually pretty good for him."
Yeah, I mean, having the catalyst for lane makes it a lot easier, right? You are most vulnerable in those early lane phases, and when you do go fleet and you take Taste for Blood plus Ravenous, you can kind of use the Q shield also to give you the Taste for Blood procs while absorbing some of that Zoe damage and just try to sustain through it, and that's obviously what you're looking to do. Plus, one of the changes that they made quite a while ago now was adding the 1 mana cost to your W, which allows you to stack your tier up much more quickly, much more easily, without actually having to utilize your E and whatnot, which you generally want to kind of hold the cooldown on because it has to be stacked up. So Kassadin in a pretty good spot. I generally feel like when you get to 3 items, that's when you really turn on. So I'm going to be pretty interested to see if Kassadin does go for the more aggressive build of a Lich Bane next, since he is spending so much time in the side lanes, or if he wants to get ready for team fights and pick up something like a Zhonya's to be ready to go.
Well, Golden Guardians did manage to get both Rift Heralds here, and they're looking to push down on the mid lane as well. The charge itself won't quite kill the turret, but the auto attacks afterwards most certainly will, as there's not a lot of defense. And Nice Hook actually pulls Shelly off the range, and actually sets the weak point. I like that a lot. It turns around to fight the turret, and boop, Just Callista kills.
Just poked in the butt with a spear right there. Poor Shelly got beat up. You would think that would be hard to hook. You know, Shelly looks like a pretty big void creature.
Yeah, but Blitzcrank is a strong robot. And now Golden Guardians, for the first time all series, will claim a Drake.
Santorin.
Right in the wings, in the middle of the entire enemy team. Killed one for 0. Who he pops a stopwatch, and maybe there's the re-engage. But Callista just turns it right back around, says, you cannot take my Blitz. My robot is safe.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the idea there from Santorin, but he just went way too early. Like, not even a little bit too early. That was so before the rest of his team was actually ready. I mean, Solo was basically in mid lane still. Power of Evil was nowhere near him, and he did this solo flank as, you know, a pure damage Pantheon. I get that you can utilize the Empowered E to actually block a lot of that damage, but he would have had to play that way more patiently if they wanted to try to punish Golden Guardians on the way out. And now Santorin will have respawn, so it will just be that dragon going over and the kill. Not that big of a deal, but still something FlyQuest would have loved to continue stacking, to work their way towards Ocean Soul, which we all know is kind of that most highly prized of the Dragon Soul buffs, especially when you are playing with Aatrox and you have that ultimate to amp the healing even further. That is a champion soul combo that people really talk about as being one of the strongest in the game.
Yeah, definitely very, very strong. You're going to hope that Haunter's Grievous Wounds for his Bramble Vest can cut that at least a little bit, cut that regen down. But yeah, if you can't kill them fast, they're going to have a whole lot of health in those team fights. Closer are going to knock down this ward. Ignar knows he's there, and they don't necessarily know Ignar's around, but there's not any good hook targets. The chickens are in the way. Red buff steal coming through. The rest of Golden Guardians at least nearby. Not sure we're going to find any kills on this one. Maybe just the farm. The ward's gone, but as this chicken dies, is it hook? Nope.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a chance you go for it, right? You walk up as it drops and maybe you catch him, but
you can definitely try.
No big deal.
But I also think FlyQuest are really comfortable with the position in this game because there's, you know, the longer the game goes, getting casted at 16 is one of the biggest power spikes, honestly, in the game. When you max out on CDR, when you have casted at 16, the Riftwalk cooldown is just so ridiculously low, and you really become almost like a completely different champion. And they're also being able to extend their gold lead through this Aatrox also. You know, the Aatrox is in a good spot here too, you know, up a good 40 CS over the Maokai, and once you hit Death Dance, you do start to getting to this point where you really can shrug off most of the damage. You know, even if Maokai is hitting you, you can just hit the minions and heal up off that to avoid the Bramble Vest debuff there. So, you know, FlyQuest, I think, pretty happy to play at side lanes, but it does look like Power of Evil wants to get ready for team fights at 16, so it won't be necessarily a hard commit to the split push, going with the Merc Treads, picking up that stopwatch, so he will be working towards the Zonias, and that really is more of the battle Kassadin style. When you do have that Archangel stacked up for the shield, and you do have that Zonias, it allows you to dive forward, utilize the Archangels to get that first round of spells out, go into the Zonias, and then you can pop back out as those cooldowns are coming back up to look for, you know, a lot of kind of disruption in the back lines, but also, of course, a lot of damage.
yeah, I mean, he's just really scary overall. One of the nice things about Catherine is that he's not just a pure AP scaler. You've got good base damages overall, and a lot of the abilities scale off of your mana pool. So just going Rod of Ages into Archangel's Staff, you've actually got really good base damage on just the Rift Walk. And yeah, being alive so you can Rift Walk once, twice, 3 times more, that's more damage than a Lich Bane's going to provide in a lot of cases. So yeah, a lot of logic to this build. Should be pretty valuable. Gotta say though, 4,500 gold lead with +1 Drake and +1 turret already 24 minutes in. I mean, this is so FlyQuest's favorite, and we've been talking at length about how good Kassadin is as well. I mean, so far, Power of Evil, though he's not necessarily hard carrying right now, he is at the same time kind of the win condition here. In a certain way, and it's going to be so hard for Golden Guardians to stop.
And when you take in consideration his position in the game, you know, the gold lead becomes that much more frightening, because Kassadin would be, you know, happy to generally be only a little bit behind a Zoe, you know, at this stage in the game. When you are outpacing the Zoe, when you're up in farm, up in experience, up in, you know, gold, this is such a big deal for that Kassadin. You know, and obviously, closing in now, his 15. Aatrox is still pushing side lanes, and I think FlyQuest will just continue to do this. Just look to play 1-3-1, look to wait for level 16, utilize Ignar, Santorin, and Wild Turtle as this kind of 3-man squad to get vision, because it's pretty safe for Ignar to be checking aggressively forward as long as Turtle is in range for that Callista ultimate to pull him out. You know, even if he face checks someone, you're always going to kind of have that safety net, and there is the possibility, of course, of them finding a beneficial play as Closer's going to go in.
He tries, but the knockup was there for Ignar. Beautifully played by the Blitzcrank. Now a re-engage for Solo and Santorin, who he thankfully very, very tanky. But to be fair, the health bars got low. Golden Guardians landed a lot of damage there. They get some Honey Fruit for closer. They've got a bit of map control. Their health bars are better. And
oh, nice hook.
Drake spawning that hook. That's going to force a flash out from Huhi, but it still feels comfortable. It still feels okay. They've got some zaplings down. Yeah, there's vision for FlyQuest, but it still feels comfortable.
Oh, they're ulting in.
They even got double smite. Pantheon over the top. Double smite comes down. They grab that one, no problem. Here comes the re-engage. They're going to shut down Golden Glue. Yes, he goes down for one. Now the re-engage. Nice stopwatch burn and Solo. Very tanky the backside. 2 for 0. Flashes out. They're going to try to live, but Power of Evil going to chase down 3 kills. And I will take 3 kills for an Ocean Drake. That seems fine for me. FlyQuest still on the chase. PoE might just have the damage. Forces Closer to flash away from him. He will not be stopped.
It's going to be Baron now for FlyQuest. They lose the Dragon, but they can go straight to it. And Power of Evil picking up some kills, really flexing his muscles. They're still not even 16, but when you have presence of mind, you have the fully stacked Riftwalk, 800 mana, so much damage, and you're just resetting in that team fight. So he forces Closer out with no flash, no chance for him to get in there for a steal, and Power of Evil just going to be scouting it out, making sure no one is even going to come try. But FlyQuest is going to take this Baron, move massively ahead as far as the gold lead goes. And if they weren't already dominating in the side lanes off of that blue buff steal, Power of Evil hits 16. Then now we're going to have Baron buffed up minions in all 3 waves. Potentially here, send out Solo and PoE to the side lanes, have this safe 3-man squad, and that becomes a recipe for success where you can start to clear out the last couple turrets on the map and really threaten these inhibitors potentially.
All 3 farming lanes for FlyQuest are up in CS, not to mention the kill, and obviously Baron and Drake lead here. They're doing everything better than their opponents right now. FlyQuest is so well poised for a 2-0 lead in this series. This one is, I mean, really almost insurmountable. It's going to be such a miracle play for Golden Guardians to win the probably 3 team fights required to win this. They're going to hope Kiwi face checks his brush. They're going to hope they can lock him down. And as luck would have it, he happens to Rift Walk right as they shoot that ulti. He's right back in. FBI gets chomped up. PoE pops the Zonias, jumps right back out. Teleports now come in as well. Here comes a 5-on-5, and PoE will simply not be stopped. That's 2 kills picked up. Give him the 3rd. Give him the 4th. The health bars are running down. Turtle grabs himself 1. There's the 4 kills picked up. And poor Golden Glue can only sit and watch as his team is already dead. FlyQuest far too far ahead to lose these fights.
Yeah, they are just crushing through. It was honestly a low chance to be able to get that pick on Power of Evil, but they wanted to try to go for something. As luck did have it, though, he was able to get away. And now Power of Evil, he could potentially dive Golden Glue here. Flash hook.
Oh, they're here. They're here. He's going to drop Q, and he is gone. A triple long turn for Power of Evil. A sub 30-minute win. You think it's going to happen. 3 respawns are in, but it's still 3 versus 5. Hanzo's 12 seconds away. Technically a Bud Light ace as they knocked down the last kill before the respawns came in. And now FlyQuest say, you know what? Let's be a little bit safe. Let's pull in Tom Kench and Closer. 2-for-1 combo. Thank you very much. Ignar pads the KDAs of his teammates, and they're on the Nexus already. Still 5 versus 3. Hanser is tanky, but not tanky enough. Add to the stats, 5-0-7 for the Kassadin. Nexus falls, and FlyQuest have a 2-0 start to this best of 5.
What a dominating game 2. Power of Evil comes out in game 1, absolutely crushing. And then to back that up with game 2, not only did they dominate, not only were they that far ahead, I mean, they slammed this game in 29 minutes, and you had a Kassadin, you could be playing for longer. It's not like they had to win that fast. It's not like they picked Renekton mid and they must win now or you lose, right? This is a level 16 Kassadin that just got to some of the strongest points of the game, and the game is basically already over. So really well played by FlyQuest. The early game plays around bot side, I think, really did get them enough pressure to kind of create this blanket of safety around mid lane for Power of Evil, and he was able to pay that off tenfold once late game came.
Well, absolutely great stuff. FlyQuest off to a soaring start here at a 2-0 lead in the best of 5. So we've got one more break, and then the Dash and the analysts will share their thoughts on how that game shook up and what game 3 might look like. Stick around.